any things we want to receive, reject, redeem? Are there things we want to make sure we walk away from this movie experience saying, let's throw this out? Or is there some stuff that you think is tweakable or receivable?
Well, one we've already talked about. I think we can reject that sharks are mindless eating machines. These are creatures that were made in the image of God, trying to fulfill the command, which was actually first given to the sea creatures to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. So, respect sharks, that kind of thing, What about you, Bridget?
Yes.
Any reject points?
Well, as a Christian podcast, I feel like I need to mention how many times the Lord's name is taken in vain in this movie. It happens quite frequently. Only to then later have Cooper, who refers to the great white shark as a miracle of evolution. I was like, man,
wait a minute.
What an interesting way to phrase that.
Miracle.
Yeah. Right.
A miracle of natural processes. Wait.
The God whose only purpose is for you to put his name in your mouth to use whenever you want for any purpose, but he divinely didn't create the sharks. Evolution divinely, miraculously did. So, in that moment, this movie's kind of all over the place in its theological talking point. But I think, obviously reject using the Lord's name in that way, only to then credit his creation to some other mechanism. So that would be a reject point for me.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got?
Yeah, as far as most of my points were receive/redeems. And so one, we've already talked about this a bit, is that sin has consequences, right? And that we see horror movies are really good at kind of bringing about those consequences, like, the girl at the very beginning and the guy who, fortunately for him, passed out on the beach. Well, I guess they didn't sin. They were, to quote Delmar from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? The two of them was fixing to fornicate. So there's that. Yep. I also think that there's an innate aspect of this movie that we can relate to. There's a impulse for justice, right? So we want justice. And I just can't help but think of the notion of natural evil, like we talked about. We recognize that even when it's not a human taking a life, that blood has to be paid for blood. That's Genesis 9. That's part of the Noahic covenant, is that when man takes another man's life, his life is forfeit. The same applies to animals. It's actually described in Genesis 9, but expounded on in Exodus 21, verse 28. If a bull gores a man or a woman to death, the bull is to be stoned to death, and its meat must not be eaten. But if the owner knew that this was a wild animal, then they're held to greater accountability, which again ties back to you knew and you did nothing, and now my son is dead. So those are a couple of my receive/redeem points. Bridget, James, anything? My
receive was also based on the family and the marriage that we get. I just love that it's a fictitious marriage. I just think that's really cute. We don't see that very often. Even if you see a healthy marriage in movies these days, a lot of times it feels like it's out of duty or we're keeping it together for the kids. It's just really nice to see a married couple who seem to have been married for a while and they just really like each other. In addition, it's like the love in Parks and Rec. I love you and I like you.
And I like you. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this movie really gets that in that relationship. So that's a receive.
It's like the Jim and Pam of monster movies, if you will. Nice. That's great. My last point on the receive redeem column was the importance of friends. Right, we got Hooper coming into town, and we've got Brody, and they become friends really quickly. Like, it seems like they're going to be at odds, but no, not at all. Brody comes in after that awful day. How was your day? And they both laugh. Because Hooper just brings this levity to all of these situations and
eats his food.
Yeah, he just starts eating.
He just makes himself at home. Love it. But then, especially his relationship with Quint, like he and Quint should be at each other's throats the whole time. And if this movie were made today, I think they would be. I don't think that they would have had that candor, I guess is maybe the word I'm looking for, where, Quint shotguns the beer and then crushes it. And then Hooper drinks his little paper cup of water and crushes it back. I love it. They're back and forth. They're comparing scars and stories and all of that stuff. I'm just reminded of Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. And two are better than one. These relationships are tried in the fire. And I find that is very much the case with friendships in this world. We need them. And they tend to form not in the hilltop moments, but in the valley moments, in the deep, in the danger. So yeah, I just love that picture of friendship as well.
We hope you enjoyed this snack-sized taste of Popcorn Theology. Check out the full episode using the link in the description. Subscribe on YouTube for more content. Follow and interact on social media to share with others. And remember, you are not a mindless consumer.